Blakey made it just under the 30-minute mark. As he sat on the exam table looking at the framed illustrated print of a whippet dog on the wall opposite him, he read aloud, "Whippet, a sighthound, breed which includes the Afghan, greyhound, and Saluki. Dogs that hunt by sight instead of scent. A whippet can reach speeds of 35 miles per hour. He wondered if the shapes could reach that speed. They certainly moved fast when they came for him. He resumed reading the copy of Through the Looking Glass that he had found under the bed, wondering if this would finally be the one that was different in some way. He knew it wouldn't be. He'd investigated that angle before. He found the same in every house. Maybe there would be a single book, not both, but they were all identical as far as he could tell. All was small batch printing with machine press raised text. In his search, he had become something of a printing expert, learning everything about their makeup, but not yet where they came from or who was making them. The freebie candy corn he snagged from the pre-Halloween dish in the waiting room helped subside the now full-on nausea. Shape's Revenge, a sometimes 3-hour-long infection campaign on his system, during which he often wished it would just finish him. Sugar and reading the book always helped. The perpetual classical music playing in Susan's office didn't hurt either. The nausea dipped slightly, so he flipped to the end of the book, tore out the last third, and tossed it in the nearby waste can to make sure he wouldn't accidentally read too far and bring on another shape while in the shop for repairs. After a panicky look away for anything else, he returned to the book. Oh, God, can't I stop? Why can't I stop? It's just a book. A damn kid's book. When Dr. Frederick walked in, he happily closed the book. Veterinarian Susan Frederick was in her late 30s and very attractive, but it took a second or third look beyond the tightly bound hair and thick glasses, which magnified her green eyes to omniscient size. She had a dish full of medical supplies and held out her hand for one of Blakey's candy corn, which made him wonder who put out the treats in the waiting room. She noticed the book in his bloody hands. "Aren't you a little old for that?" He turned it over to check her view of the cover. It's Alice's, her favorite. It'd have to be, wouldn't it? Susan sorted the implements on her tray. Used to be one of my favorites. That and the first one. Kids don't read books like that anymore. Too much nonsense. Do kids read anything anymore? Blakey posed. She proudly answered, "Don't know about the rest of the world, but Jonah does." Blakey watched her as she turned his arm, starting roughly. "Same thing as last time." "Yup." He was impervious to her prodding tone and too distracted by her proximity. Her faded college athletics t-shirt, hugging her fit body, was right in his face. He wondered how she had the time to stay in such good shape. She declared, "Gonna be at least 20 stitches here." Blakey thumbed towards his back. "Oh, I can beat that." He then opened the book again to fight a fresh swell of sickness. Judging by how matted his shirt was to his back, she asked, "Am I going to puke?" "Now that wouldn't be professional," he replied. She was emphatic. "None of this is. I'm going to have to flee to Bermuda because of you." She peeled up Blakey's blood-clotted shirt, exposing the gaping wound, making her suck air through her teeth in reaction. "Oh, what the hell, Blakey?" she exclaimed, stepping back in disbelief. "Doesn't this hurt?" He flipped to another page. "Only when I move." She cleaned the wound and jammed in some Novocaine bluntly, angry with what their friendship had become. "So?" she demanded. "So?" he offered back. She mocked, "What was it this time? Should I get the rabies vaccinations?" He would only add to the mystery, "Little white rabbit with a case of the Cujos?" Seriously, what did this? She readied the staple gun. Blakey never budged. Seriously, couldn't say. She popped in the first staple. "Couldn't or won't?" "Pick one. They both work," he replied. "You know I could lose my license for this." all self-inflicted. I flog myself to sleep. The curiosity is killing me. Blakey hoped to lighten the mood. Don't they have a pill for that? She groaned. Finished with his back, Susan moved to his face to inspect the swollen flesh around his eye. You should have a real doctor look at this, you know. Your left zygomatic looks fractured. Zygo what? He asked. She answered as if it were obvious. Your cheekbone. Someone should look at it. He didn't even look up. All those diplomas, I trust you. She scoffed. When you walk on fours, then I'd feel qualified to do all this. He chuckled. I'll walk on fours any time you want, Doc. She ignored the crude come on and reasserted concern. Could be brain damage. He said rather sadly, not much left to damage. She returned, You know any blow to the head can lead to mental illness? You could go nuts and then hurt people? She then had a very dark thought and added, You aren't hurting anyone, are you? There was a brief pause before his expected sarcasm. Only myself. I absolve you of all liability, okay? She then began to clean up the mess. So, how's Harry then? Fine. He flipped a page as punctuation. She looked back over her shoulder. Just thought I'd bring up something relevant, Saul. He's a dog, Blakey said dully. Past due for a checkup. Don't you get those little cards we send? Sure, Doc. Keep 'em on the fridge, right next to the casserole recipes. She fetched some bandages and carefully cast a lure from the cabinet. Anything from Kate? Blakey's lip twitched. He could sense her searching for a way to share her frustration. Who cares? Well, I just figured. Figured wrong, I couldn't care less. Blakey sounded more disdainful than indifferent. He volleyed back, Anything from Keith? He quickly realized his mistake and ended it. Sorry, don't know why I said that. Blakey felt bad, offered up something of an apology. How's Jonah? Great. Started 6th grade last week and hates it. I think he's developing a wild streak. She beamed motherly pride even when it was a problem. Like his mother? Blakey asked. She laughs. Hardly. I was a first-class nerd. Blakey was not surprised. Really, I would have never thought. Math trophies and headgear to prove it. But what a lovely smile. All the more to chew you out for being such an asshole. She began wrapping his arm. Blakey returned to the book. Susan hated the silence and asked, Read me some? Blakey looked at her, tightly wrapping his arm as if she should know the importance of what she was asking. She couldn't know, so he checked the book to make sure those last pages were still gone. You sure? She looked surprised. Why not? He thought again. Maybe just a little. She finished bandaging as he read. The next moment, soldiers came running through the wood, at first in 2s and 3s, then 10 or 20 together, and at last in such crowds that they seemed to fill the whole forest. Alice got behind a tree for fear of being run over and watched them go by. He read aloud for her even after she was done with his injuries, continuing while she cleaned up and only stopping when it was time to turn off the lights and leave. Outside he thanked her and her expression slackened. Please let this be the last time, she appealed before heading to her car. This saddened him. He watched her for a moment and then kidded, Can't make any promises. She didn't turn around, just waved a hand in the air as she got into her car, carefully pulled out and drove off. It was then the guilt seeped in, and he had to leave before it immobilized him.